Welcome back to Poland. Welcome back to the biggest esports event on the planet. And we are looking to hand this trophy to one of the best CROSSFIRE teams in the world. It's the CROSSFIRE IEM Expo Invitational 2018. 2 games are down already, and we're in a double elimination series between our 4 teams. So it's what we call winner's bracket time. 2 teams who won their opening matches, they're now going to play each other. The winner of this will go to the grand final at the end of today. That's the shortcut. That's the route every team wants. It could be Penta Sports, one of the most famous esports organizations in CROSSFIRE. We've seen them again and again at major international tournaments. It could be Penta, or it could be a team known as the 2-time reigning world champion Super Valiant from China. We've seen this matchup in the past before. What's it going to bring us today? Who's going to go straight to the grand final later on? Let's find out. Kyle, Jordan, and Lee, who do you think it's going to be?
Well, that is the ultimate question. I think everybody knows which way it's likely to go. We'd like to see it go in a different way, but this is what we talked about at the top of the show. We were talking about if there's ever a time to take Super Valiant down, it's in a best of 1. And that's the chance that Penta have.
Exactly. This is the one opportunity here for Penta to knock them down into that lower bracket. I think if they do get knocked down to the lower bracket here, SV, they should be able to climb back out. In all honesty, I think both of these 2 teams should be able to climb back out, and these are the 2 teams that we'll see in the grand final later on today. But I feel like at this point, I might as well just copy-paste exactly what I said from that last pre-analyst desk into this pre-analyst desk and say basically that I think SV's got this one in
just
spades.
Production, run the video.
Yeah, run the video.
You're talking about the last game, yeah? It's just
exactly
blowing everything up Super Valiant's back. But they're against Penta. This is a different game, surely, Kyle.
Yeah, I think Penta has a much greater chance here. I mean, you've got the likes of FaZe and Snox who have been able to contest against a team like SV in the past, both of them with finals appearances against this roster, so they know them quite well, and if they've done their homework, they could actually stand a chance here given the map goes their way for what they want to play.
I mean, they've already shown up, of course, in Game 1. They were looking very good. The names we expected to do well did do well for Penta, so we got to be thinking, okay.
Yeah.
No, and we should say that N9 did really show up much. He didn't need to because Emzin was going off.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think that on paper this should definitely be more difficult for Super Valiant. I mean, when you look at these 2 rosters, when you look at Penta versus XQ, obviously Penta's the better team here, or I say obviously. We haven't actually seen them go up against each other, so let's maybe not say something so blanket like that. But they should pose a little bit more of a threat here for Super Valiant. I do still think Super Valiant has all the pieces of the puzzle they do need here, even if N9 isn't having the performance that we might hope from him. We saw Emson's having a great day so far. WQ started to get the ball rolling towards the late stages of that matchup as well. So those 2 are kind of scary for me. And for Penta, yes, they've got their players on the ball, but man for man, when you look at them up against each other individually, you have to say SV has that firepower in their favor.
This is surely maybe a look to the future of, you know, going to the finals again in December. This is a potential final, right? Penta obviously bested Flipside. We'll see whether Flipside bounce back against XQ Intense after this matchup, but this is a potential finals right here, because obviously we've seen these guys, certainly like you say, former players together, FaZe and Snox, facing these guys in the finals in 2016. So it is, you know, when we're saying, oh, you know, Super Valiant is so strong, so amazing, there's a chance. There is a big chance here, but it depends on the map. Now, we don't know the vetoes yet. We're still waiting to hear what they're going to be. What do you suspect it could be? We were talking about, obviously, Mexico and Subbase were the ones that banned away, so obviously we saw Super Valiant banning away Subbase in the last matchup. Do we expect them to do it again against Penta?
Absolutely, yeah, they should get rid of Subbase. The question for me is what Penta's going to go for here as their veto. If it is going to be Mexico, or like what we spoke about before, is it going to be something else? Perhaps Black Widow might not be a bad opportunity for them. We know Super Valiant is very, very strong on Black Widow. Traditionally speaking, Chinese teams in general are very strong on Black Widow, but that leaves obviously Mexico open, which I feel has been a little bit of a weakness for Super Valiant in the past. Enough of a weakness to drop a map here.
I just have flashbacks of Emzin running around and getting the ace against Flipside in 2016.
It's so hard to say, right? Because you say it's a weakness, okay, compared to the rest of their maps. But realistically speaking, is that necessarily a weakness? Maybe not.
So Emzin having a chat with the admins. I guess they're still trying to figure out the map vetoes, or whether they're trying to see who they're banning away. They're having a little discussion. They were just having a little food break. That's why we had a 25-minute break, by the way. The Chinese team were out there having food. I guess Penta had already had theirs because they had the first match of the day, so they're just having a little snack. But we're waiting to see where this is going to go. Kyle, where would you prefer to see this going? Certainly from Penta's perspective.
I'd really like them to see to get their shot on Mexico or Port. I think out of the maps that are probably going to remain, that's probably their best chance to get in here and actually pull away with a win. I think if it goes to something like Black Widow or Ankara, there's just no chance with how well they've been playing on the side of SV. They're definitely not cold today.
Yeah, I certainly suspect to see, I mean, obviously, I'm thinking of Flipside's game in 2016. They did very well on Port, if I seem to recall them. Obviously, we were talking about it. We're waiting for the bans.
I just
heard ban. That was all production said.
Yeah.
Ban.
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 All right, what are we banning? That's the question.
Okay, so Penta have banned Black Widow. So we just talked about that. And SV banning away Subbase. Okay. So Ankara open, Mexico open, and Port open. We'll see which way the RNG goes. And well, Kyle, you called it, man. It has gone to Port. So do we see Penta with a real chance here?
I think so. I think out of those three, Ankara was the one that SV pretty much would win no matter what. Port, I think, is a good middle ground map because even though it is a bit longer range, Penta have shown in the past that Port is a very strong map for them. FaZe, he's great at that lane control with that Om in his hands, and on top of that, Snox, he's able to get these early close quarters plays in the tunnels and in mid as well. So I think if they can really establish that, but also have the rest of the roster step up behind them, Penta actually has a pretty good shot here of at least contesting here, even if they aren't able to win.
Yeah, I definitely don't think this is a terrible situation, really, for Penta when we look at those maps. I kind of wanted to see Mexico because I felt like that was going to be the closest map. But now that I think about it, actually, Port, from memory, was the least played map, actually, at the Grand Finals last year. I don't know if you agree with me, Carl, but I don't actually remember a time where we saw Super Valiant play it at that event.
Yeah, they didn't get to it too much. I think they played it maybe one time the entire event. So it's definitely a map where they could slip up on, but again, as we've said in the past, SV, they're the type of team you have to get that early lead to, and I think what side Penta starts on is going to play a huge factor here. I think if they really want to win this, they've got to be hoping for the Blacklist side here and that early momentum to go their way, because otherwise I just don't see SV falling it if they can grab the early lead.
Well, that's what we always talk about against teams that are playing up against SV. It's like, oh, you always need to get that early lead. But as I said before in the last analyst segment about SV, even when they are down early on in the piece, they have a way to come back into things.
Well, and this is a very one-sided map as well, so we can't get too carried away if maybe the score does tend to tumble one way or the other. We don't know which way, who's going to be starting. Well, now we do. It's going to be Penta starting out on the Blacklist, Super Valiant on defense on the Global Risk, and we'll see how this works out. Can Penta get themselves an early round?
Well, that's going to be the million-dollar question here. Well, maybe not $1 million, but a lot of money on the line. And of course, the Pride as well. Super Valiant have been almost undefeated for the majority of their tenure. There was, of course, that one blip in the radar against Black Dragons. But whether or not they're going to falter here at IEM Katowice, that is a big question. And Super Valiant start off okay. A bit of damage there onto NLS. The first kill of the game, though, does go the way of Penta, and quite a few more do follow up. WQ here has the frags available to him, but only gets 2 before being traded out. Still stabilizes a little bit here. Let's see what Emson has got. And the answer is absolutely nothing as Snox wipes the floor with it. 3 kills for Snox in the opening game. This is what we came to see. This is what we want. An early push from Penta pays dividends on B side. And maybe they can just gather some momentum from this. Just 2 frags for WQ in the early stages there as he swung out wide. There's the map. You can see them setting up for this one. The rotations coming through, looking in mid at the moment, trying to see if they can get a pick. Still no sniper rifles for Penta. You can see Emzin lining up the shot. I think you just heard the shot in the background actually there. Looking down long A at the moment. So they're kind of left in that solo go on long A. Yeah, Super Valiant perhaps was caught a little bit off guard there by the pace of Penta. We didn't really see much of a fight back actually from any of them apart from WQ. And 9 here, though, has spotted quite a few out. The information will be given to his teammates. WQ makes good use of it, finding 2. But the trades are there still for Penta. And it's a 2 versus 2 after all the frags come across. favorable for Penta. Splits the map up a little bit there for SV.
Well, they're trying to rotate and join themselves together. Emzin obviously was over on A site as that long defense. He has still got that scope out, taking a peek while the rest of FaZe trying to regather. Moon has got himself in a really interesting situation here. Emzin may go for the peak. I'm just looking whether he realizes somebody is behind them at the spawn. Doesn't matter. FaZe comes around, finds Ank, and suddenly Emzin is the last man standing on the bridge. Now, he's going to look around. Does he realize that Moon is back there? Moon about to get a vision of him. He just saw him surely. Oh, and Emzin too quick on the reactions there. And we're down to a one-on-one. FaZe gets the plant in. Emzin knows exactly where he is. Can't land the shot. Goes for the flash out. Doesn't matter. FaZe drops down. Going to try and get around the left-hand side of Emzin here. Emzin still looking for the peak. It's a beautiful flank, and FaZe will pick up the round for Penta.
That's the kind of thing that you'd expect to see out of one of the SV players, that kind of long flank, that push that catches your opponent off guard, and Emzin just was not expecting that.
And right now, Penta, they're in a great position, and starting off on the Blacklist side, I knew would definitely play to their advantage here. They love to play aggressive, and they love to go for that control early up in mid, and somehow they let Moon sneak behind him. But SV, I think they really just need to anchor down and stop trying to force control of the tunnels, and it looks like they are going to go ahead and take that strategy this time around. Instead, they're going to go for the boost into a connector here, so Penta, they've got to be careful on this one.
Will it catch them off guard? They're going to try and get themselves a little peek around there. You can see the stack up for B site here has been a problem. Dabaqu has been getting himself a double kill every time he's traded in this little connector into B the last few times. Even when flashed up, he's getting that spray down. It's been working wonders for him. But this time, Penta trying to play it slow. And it is a map you do have to play cautiously. Fast and Furious doesn't tend to work here in Port.
So far, it is still going to be some slow play from Penta. They want that opening pick, and Moon is going to take down Emzin with a nice shot there.
Moon's very low on HP, but player advantage for Penta once more. Only 1 minute and 15 left on the clock, so not a lot of time for them to play with. They're still taking things quite slow. They've got good control across the map. They have an easy entry into the B bomb site should they desire to go in that direction, which it does seem like they do.
Setting up the frags, and again, taking another peek. So close to getting caught out by Moon there, just a pixel off as NLS looks to try and carve open the site here. N9 tucked in alongside Dabaqu, sitting further back on B site this time so they don't get caught out. You can see 18 and Ank both rotating. They expect it, so there's going to be a four-man rush here. And Super Valiant completely set up for this. Are they going to try and flank it? Yes, they are. The rotation comes out. Super Valiant got to realize they're out of position. They're trying to get the flank around, but it's going to be A where they push. They're already in position as they try and come around. The cross comes in. Ank will get Moon down, but you can see quickly FaZe gets himself one down. The nade comes in. It catches onto 18, but it's not enough damage as he peeks up, finds himself an angle. FaZe is there, and it's looking like Penta might get this.
FaZe is being an absolute monster right now for Penta, and I don't think they've got time to plant the bomb. They get the kills anyway. Doesn't matter, and Penta come away with another round, but yeah, FaZe, that's the first death he's had this map so far. 5-1 at the moment, winning so many crucial 1v1 duels. That seems to be what is lacking right now for SV, is that they just can't close out any of these duels.
It's all about the rotation, man. That was so well faked. SV completely fell for a hook, line, and sinking. You don't see that very often.
No.
Right now, SV, they're just not able to feel comfortable, but looks like they are going to go to a different setup once again. They've been trying to change it up, but so far it just hasn't worked out in their favor. But Penta, they are just reading these situations so well. You can definitely tell they've done their homework in the placements of these players on their global risk half, but right now, N9, he's really going to have to lock this one down. I think in this round, they're going to put a lot of pressure on him. If he can't get at least 2 along with Dabaqu here, it's going to be a tough time ahead once again.
Dabaqu's going to get the spray down once again, and it works out well for him. N9 this time gets the peak, and this looking like finally the chance where Super Valiant will pick themselves up their first round of the half. We're down to a 2v4. Emzin going for the challenge there. Moon down to nothing. FaZe looking for the second peak, gets himself a little angle on the cross there, but didn't go for the shot. And now they've got to slow things down and try and force the play over at long A. We've got 18 come all the way behind him at long A. The bomb's now loose. Moon on nothing. And it's a big round for 18 there. Kit picks himself up 3 frags.
Pretty crucial round as well for Super Valiant. If it was going to continue on the way that it had been, Penta was starting to look in pretty dangerous territory there, actually. But Super Valiant have chimed back in with one.
Look at this push. Three of them coming straight down mid. They're coming at him. They're just going to try and go through bulldozer approach. It has not really worked out. Snox is ready and waiting for them. NLS gets the peek over the bridge. And Super Valiant, their aggression has not worked in their favor. It can work against teams that are not expecting it, but Dabberq in a 3v1 turns it to a 1v1. Creeds goes for the peek and gets the kill. They had to finish that one out, Penta, because they had caught Super Valiant with their pants down the middle.
That's not good news for Super Valiant. You really could see that they just want to come back into this map and try and dictate things once more. They want to be the one that's on top, and it's gone completely against them. Penta have just read it like a book, and SV now down 4-1. That's going to be a shocking blow to the mentality of SV.
The problem for me, Carl, that's a strategy I know is coming from Super Valiant, and if I know it, they 100% know it, and Penta were completely expecting that.
I think that's part of the problem. SV, they've lost every round that they've peaked first. The round they won, they anchored down, they played passive, and they had a solid rotation. But Penta, they're reading them so well that if they go for an aggressive play on SV, Penta, they are ready for it. And SV, they just have to play a lot more cautious now if they want this half to go their way.
Yes, perhaps a play style that they're not 100% comfortable with or used to. Seeing a massive stacking connect here. See whether they're going to go across. Dabberq, little peek across, but he goes back. Has a look through. Is he going to peek the bridge? Because if he does, there's a lot of people sat ready and waiting for him. They're lining up the flashes. Penta on the push.
Yeah, but Dabberq waiting for them. He'll get NLS, has the opportunity for more, but he will go down. 18, however, is there for the trades and does trade well. 2 for him, puts it to a 3 versus 2, and we do have a favorable scenario once more for Super Valiant. Again, a critical round. They need to close this one out. Every single round that they let Penta get, it's going to be a problem for them. Creed's now in a 1v2 though. Not a 1v1.
It's Emzin who's on a 1-4 against Creed's on a 7-3. He's had a really good start to this, but Emzin obviously being the solo man over at long A. He's now made the push across and he's keeping his eyes on the prize. Doesn't need to push on this one. Still no bomb for Creed, so he's going to go back and collect that. 38 seconds on the clock, so hasn't got a great deal of time to play with as Emzin stares at the feet, expecting, waiting. I think the moment he's looked away, Creed's popped in and took it. I'm trying to see from Creed's point of view. He's just wondering, where is Emzin? Where is he? He's got to be around here. Oh, Emzin just flashed across. Sees him on! The headshot comes in from Creed's. A massive moment there for Penta as they go 5-1 up.
Well, well, well. This is a unexpected turn of events. I'm prepared to eat my shoe.
That was the last game. Yeah, I'll let you off on this one. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I really didn't want to eat it, even though I keep bringing it up.
You have got a second pair in your suitcase, so you're all right.
Yep.
Yeah, we could.
Got my thongs as well.
The thongs, I should explain, non-Australians, thongs doesn't mean what you think it does. He's not wearing one right now. Well, he may be. I don't know.
Might be.
I don't really know what you're wearing, Jordan, but thongs are flip-flops into the rest of the world. But here we go. This is Penta setting up very similar to the last round, actually, here in Connector.
And right now, it looks like they are going to go for that A split execution, but they have to be ready to rotate here on the side of SV. Emzin, he's got to connect the shots as well, sitting with only 1 frag on the half so far. It's put a lot of pressure on him, and they're going to continue to do so here. And Penta, they've done a great job of it, and they are ready to go for this. Looks like they're going to go for the triple peak on the A top.
Moon just dropped down, which you saw Emzin take the shot. Moon dropped down, he misses it, and that's a big crucial shot. He needs to land them sort of ones. He's going to get the rotate, but it doesn't matter. Creeds pops up and finds his head once again. It's round after round. Creeds is on fire, but 18 comes in. He has been playing very well, and look at that rotate coming from Super Valiant. Do not write these boys off, but FaZe goes big, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3! FaZe goes huge in a 1v4. He's just got N9 remaining. N9 comes up and plays spoiler for a highlight reel that FaZe could have played. And look at that, a little call out Emzin. Interesting, they look a little rattled.
Well, they should be at this point. I mean, Emzin's having a real shocker, isn't he? Like 1 and 6 at this point. He is being the anchor of SV right now. He needs to step up. If he can't manage to hit those shots over on the A site with the sniper, he needs to swap back to a rifle.
Yeah, I actually agree. I mean, I think he should go for the rifle at this point because they've been abusing him in his solo positions. Either they're sending Creeds or FaZe right into his crosshairs early, and he hasn't been able to take either of them down really at all. And Penta, they've already secured the half at this point. It's just a matter of what difference they'll have going into the second half. But I'd still say Penta to be comfortable in this one. They still need 6 or 7 rounds to give themselves a good buffer going into that second half.
And they've been very close. You think of the rounds that Super Valiant have picked up, they've both been one-on-ones.
I mean, technically that was a 1-on-4. And it got down to a 1-on-1. So this
True.
is like the advantage that we were talking about for Super Valiant in the last match turned on its head.
Yeah.
But all the rounds that Super Valiant, in theory, should win are being put very, very close by Penta.
FaZe switch into that home this time around. Hasn't paid off for him just yet. Now N9, look at, he's tucked in the corner. Snox is not looking. He's literally just passed straight by him. He's still not looking. Oh, actually they found him. That's why NLS just ripped through them. He took WQ and N9 down without even blinking as he runs through. Emzin peeks around the back, gets himself a shot on Creeds. 18 comes in. He has been the man of the moment for Super Valiant, holding strong for them. By far their best player in this half so far at 10 and 6. But a 3-on-3, they rotate, they're in position on A.
Well, it's time for Emzin to step up here once more. Does have Anka there as well towards the A bomb site, but really, Emzin has been the problem for Super Valiant so far. So I want to see him have a good round, get himself back into this match before it's too late.
Here we go, 18. Just trying to power it round the back of them. He's going to try and catch them off. Emzin's chance here. All he's doing is trying to hold them off. 18 coming, blasting round the back. He gets himself an easy shot in the back. Takes down Snox. FaZe gets the peek around the corner, but 18 is ripping through them. He has been the man of the moment. 18 absolutely lighting them up. He has been the only shining ray of hope for Super Valiant so far here.
5-3 though, SV, if they can get this 4th round, they're still in a really solid position, especially with how confident they play on their blacklist halves. So Penta, they really need this final round of the half. Even though they have the half win, they've got to have a big lead to go into the second half with.
Yeah, we were talking about the strength of Super Valiant as a roster, how every single one of their players can have individual performances, and for me, 18 was not a player that I actually talked about so much, but it just goes to show the strength of the 5-man roster of Super Valiant, in that any single player can pick up their game and have a massive performance for Super Valiant, put them in from a poor position into what is now a fairly reasonable position.
Here we go, nades, flashes, everything going out. It's a massive pile-on towards A side. Emzin lands one,
here we go.
lands 2. Can he turn this round? No, he gets taken down. Snox peeks up. WQ is back though. And now Snox from behind gets tagged up. FaZe will pick himself up. Snox comes in, and Penta pick up the round. It's 6-3 going into the half. You said they needed more than 5. 6 is not great considering the start they had at 5-1. They allow just a few too many moments for certainly 18 to draw it back for Super Valiant. Super Valiant not as buoyant as you would expect there. Clearly they realize they have a game in their hands.
Yeah, and right now, Penta, they're in a great position. They got the half that they should need to win there, and now it is going to be about their global risk half. They have to anchor down, but at the same time, I think this could play to their favor at this point, because every team that's gone up against SV in the past, they make the mistake of playing too passive, but FaZe is one of those guys who's not afraid to get in your face with that and really go for the early pushes, and Snox as well. I can see them definitely throwing out the counter aggression, but SV, they're going to be playing confident here, already pushing B.
Yeah, well, remember what I said about SV. Never count them out despite the scoreline. So far, it's not going too poorly for them here in the second half. It's a 2-for-2 trade. That'll favor SV now on blacklist. Emzin gets one more, pulls it back to a 3v2. So now definitely favorable player advantage for Super Valiant in the first round of the half.
You can see Penta were kind of caught. Weren't really sure what to do there. Creed's trying to back out. Had nade in hand. He's like, should I nade them all? I can't peek it. Emzin comes around the other side, catches them all in a bit of a huddle, effectively. FaZe with the sniper. Now in a tricky position. Emzin looks like he's going to be the solo man to keep Creeds busy while the rest of the team go for that A rotate. Now they're all pushing across. They're going to be able to hear them, so it's going to be a slow rotate. FaZe has to try and cover the cross, which is what he's going to do now. Oh my lord! He catches the double as Ank and WQ go down, and that is not in the playbook of Super Valiant. Emzin has to do it. He gets FaZe down, and now it's a one-on-one. Creeds came out on top last time around in this duel, but this time Emzin has to save the blushes. Can he land to land it? No! No! Creeds does it again, and Penta pick up a round they had no right to win.
that's the kind of shot you expect Emsen to hit as well. He took a long time to even get any damage across, but I mean, FaZe, really, that was what won them that round, that shot.
And now you can see Emsen, he's basically conceded this ARM duel. He's going for the AK FaZe. He's just been outclassing him throughout this matchup so far. Now it's 7-3, just 3 rounds away from Penta closing this one out.
Where do they go? What do they do? It seems to me that Super Valiant have almost ground to a halt as they internally discuss what exactly needs to change. They need to find the picks, but even then, it hasn't been working. Penta, Creed's, especially for me, has been phenomenal. NLS finds the opener. 18 goes down, and he's been the shining light for Super Valiant in the first half. Now, N9 creeps his way in. A B hit about to be exploded upon. They have 2 man. I can see the rotate coming in here. Here's the flashes. Moon is in and around the corner. They have 1 down low as they come around. Moon finds 1. Dabaku gets dropped. Creed's in the corner. Pops around. NLS gets another and goes down. And just like that, it's falling apart. But N9 comes in to save the blushes. He has next to no hit points left. And Snox and FaZe are remaining with a minute on the clock.
Well, I was about to say it's still doable here for N9. That I'm glad I didn't say that one, because it runs right into Snox. And again, another round here for Penta. They are just looking magnificent right now. That defense, that hold, almost perfect. I mean, it did go a little bit awry as N9 picked up a couple of kills, but it never seemed like Penta were going to lose that round.
Oh, and there we go again, another opener. And this has really been the story, right? Penta getting themselves that early advantage. Emsen has just not been the same person effectively. Kyle, you talked about it right at the start. Where do they need to win? Well, Port was the place. Super Valiant, they need to wake up now, or is the jet lag already hitting them? I don't know.
And I think a part of it too is it might have actually hindered SV to play arguably the weakest team first. They may have got a little bit too comfortable going into this matchup and underestimated what Penta could bring to the table. But as you can see, it's already a 3-on-5. Penta closing in on that potential match point opportunity here.
And we talked about just, you know, the only chance effectively really to take Super Valiant down, because if you go into that best of 3, best of 5 situation, it's a nigh on impossible situation, because even if you get the 1 map look, you can't carry it through. Now, if Super Valiant get knocked down into the lower bracket, they could find themselves up against Flipside, who certainly put a real big challenge on Penta, who themselves are just running through Super Valiant right now. It's 9-3, ladies and gentlemen. This could be historic. Super Valiant could be losing their first game in Katowice.
Yeah, that would be absolutely huge.
And I think this could actually be, if they close at 10-3, the biggest spread that someone has actually won against SV on. I think Set to Destroy had the closest one at 10-5, but 10-3 is almost unheard of, especially against the reigning world champions and 2 times over. And
something I talked about before, how Chinese team can get in themselves. China is still awake. China is watching, and China will not be happy. I know how the social media can play out, certainly in the Western world. In the Eastern world, it is brutal. And to see their team, their 2 times world champions, reigning absolute monsters that are untouched, being tested like this in Europe is not something the Chinese viewership will be used to.
No, absolutely not, and not something that they're going to be happy with either. Certainly not something that Super Valiant will be happy with at this point. However, it's not the end of the world. Should they go down here, it is still potential for Super Valiant to come through that lower bracket. For now, they seem to have staved off the flow of rounds for Penta. 3 versus 1 here. Let's see what Creeds can do. If he clutches this one out, that'll be absolutely crazy.
On the rotate, he's going to try and go around the back. Bomb down, 1 on 3. He's got to see, didn't quite catch Ems in there. Anchor holding the long A push. Just going to hop up and peek. There's the flash. Flashed up Creed, doesn't go for the peak, gonna get the second one out there, finds the head, and 9, oh, he takes another, M's in now, it's another duel, oh my word, he's done it again, Creed has been phenomenal in this game, he will get himself the defuse, it will be a 10-3 victory, Penta have just basically written history right now, they've knocked Super Valiant into the lower bracket. We knew they'd get tested, they knew they'd get challenged, Port was the best chance, but by God, they have played magnificent here.
Just a crazy performance, to say the least. I mean, 10-3, not even close to what we expected in this one. We expected, I mean, maybe a close win for Penta, but SV, they're going to be fighting for survival now against a team that knows them quite well. And flip side, they got more rounds against Penta than SV did.
Yeah, what a crazy kind of a matchup that was. I'm going to have to eat my words, if not my shoes, after that one, because, well, I thought SV was going to come away with a fairly comfortable victory there as well, but Penta have definitely stood up and showed us what they're made of. Now what remains to be seen is which team's going to face them in the final.
I think the surprising thing is not so much that they've lost, but just how much they've lost by. We were talking about, you know, the 6-3 start, and we're like, oh, maybe they got enough rounds at 6. 6-3 is not a great score, it's an okay score. Super Valiant were just picked apart, and honestly, for me, Creed's just, oh my God, he pulled off, and not once, not twice, but 3 times against Emzin in a one-on-one. He came out on top. But at the end there, a 1v3, and he still comes out on top.
It just felt like Super Valiant didn't exist on that map. It was basically Penta running around deathmatching. Every time you saw a Penta player, they would run in, get a headshot. You think, okay, well, that kind of looked like what SV was doing in their last matchup. But SV just was not hitting any shots.
Just not hitting the shots. And there was some performances, we're just not sure how it worked out. Guys, let's check out the brackets, of course, because that does mean that Penta have now gone through to the finals, and they're going to be waiting to see who will be joining them. Super Valiant, of course, going to be dropping down and playing the winner of Flipside versus XQ Intense. That's going to be coming up in just a moment. But now we have a real shocking potential for Super Valiant to go out before the final. Of course, there's a couple of games to go before we get there. Let's get over to the stage with Matt to see who is going to give the interview.
Triple killing FaZe, that's who. Destroying SV FaZe with his teammates. All of you put 10-3 on the board over the 2-time reigning world champions. And we need to get the historians out and work this out. And I think the desk may be on the case already. That's possibly the biggest win anyone has ever had over the Chinese champions.
Yeah, probably, but it's not a map they usually ban, so we were pretty surprised by the veto, but that we won like that high, it's pretty surprising.
Very surprising. I think that is a fair thing that we will say about everybody who's watched that and about everybody who's a fan of CROSSFIRE. We know how good SV are, but they are next to us right now on the stage looking, well, not like an SV we've ever seen before, and that's down to you guys who took that match and ran away with it.
Yeah, probably, I mean, probably they're jet lagged or something. We know how it is to play in China, to have a jet lag, so I don't know. I wouldn't overrate this game. It doesn't mean too much. If you can win in the final, probably that means a bit more.
I understand what you're saying. It feels natural to kind of make some maybe excuses. Maybe that's not the right word, but, you know, all jet lag might be a factor. But you guys are playing out in China. You guys have competed in the Chinese Pro League. Penta have been in that as one of only 2 invited teams to compete in the Chinese Pro League. So you are familiar with the Chinese team and you have played those guys before. So how did you prepare for that match?
I don't know. We didn't really prepare specifically for them. We just said we need to be confident and we can win the game.
And that's how you feel about everybody?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I just tell them, just be confident. We just have to have the right mindset, and then we can beat everyone.
You go through on the way everybody wants. So through the winners bracket, straight into our grand final, which will be a best of 3 later on today. Now, in our next game, XQ are going to be playing for survival against Flipside Tactics. Then the winner of that will meet SVG. And it is possible then, obviously, if SVG win that decider, we might have you versus them again in the grand final, but it'll be 3 maps, not 1.
Yeah, as said before, if we win the final in a best of 3, this means more to us.
We'll see what happens. Either way, you will be in the grand final. Congratulations to FaZe and his team from Penta Sports, the first grand finalist here at the CROSSFIRE IEM Expo Invitational 2018. Who's going to join them? We'll find out in a little while, but after this break, it is the losers bracket game. It will be Flipside Tactics, it will be XQ Intense, and the loser of that game is done here in Katowice. That's coming up next here at the CROSSFIRE IEM Expo Invitational 2018.